Between the electric and light, the brute has been taken by Xianxia to the side. His eyes is round, showing full of frightened expression. He also has the cultivation level of Saint King 3-layer, but in front of this young man who is equal to his cultivation realm, he can't even show any resistance, which can't help but make him a bit creepy. It was only at this moment that he seemed to think of rebelling, but just as he was condensing his Saint Yuan, Xianxia patted his shoulder lightly, the brute snorted, his face slightly pale, and the strength in his body could no longer be felt. Xianxia rolled him out again with a kick towards Yufeng and the others. Then he snatched the long whip he held in his hand, threw it to Yufeng, and said coldly, "There is grievance, there is revenge." Yufeng took the long whip and froze for a moment before recovering. He glanced at his tortured companions and looked at the brute with a smirk on his face. The next moment, the sound of punching, kicking and whip flicking came out, mixed with the helpless screams of the brute. Xianxia's face was cold, and his eyes had a terrifying glare, and he seems to want to eat people out. Looking at Xianxia, and said, "Well, the young man is really fierce. The old man want to see how long you can be arrogant." The voice fell. With a big wave of his hand, suddenly a figure emerged from all directions, not to mention there were dozens of people. Those people gathered around the ruins of Zhuyuan Hall, and stared at Xianxia and others, although these people did not have void return stage martial artist. But the number is enough to change the color of Changqi and Hoenn slightly. Not only that, there are many people flying from all directions in Heavenly Fate City, many of whom are strong men of void return stage cultivators. It didn't take a moment for the situation to change sharply, but Xianxia and others who could have taken the upper hand a little bit compared with the number of martial arts completely fell into disadvantage. Changqi glanced around, and his face sank. He found that, surrounded by 7 or 8 void return stages, it was obviously a helper called by Xianxia. He had anticipated this situation before he came here. After all, this trip was deep into Tiger's Den. It is impossible for the other party not to summon the helper, but he did not expect the other party to have such a big fighting force. After sneaking a glance at Xianxia, he suddenly found that he was still calm and confident, and he was a little surprised at the same time as he was also slightly infected. Secretly guessing what kind of backing Xianxia has left. "Brother Xie, is this kid ruining Zhuyuan Hall?" An old man who rushed here and had a goatee was first greeted with Xianxia, his voice cold, and stared at Xianxia. Xianxia clenched his fists, and with a sorrowful voice said, "Yes, this kid was indeed finding trouble here." The old man didn't expect that there were actually 2 people around him who are void return stage cultivators. The elder with a goatee smiled and waved his hand. "Brother Xie is serious, it's just a gathering place, and it will be destroyed when it is destroyed. I have a great career in Shadowmoon Hall, and I don't care about this, but it seems that the situation of your junior are not so good." As he spoke, he looked at the brute who was beaten by Yufeng and others, and his look was cold. Now that this old man and others are here, they still dare to do so. Isn't this too much? Not giving this old man face. Stop. During the speech, his eyes flashed, and the powerful divine consciousness descended from the sky and shrouded Yufeng and others. At the same time, Changqi laughed, also issued his own divine consciousness power. The 2 divine consciousness touched in midair, disappearing silently. The other party is also a void return 1-layer cultivator. Changqi naturally will not fear him. This fight is quite a match. Yufeng and others stopped at the moment and looked up at Xianxia. They had never been surrounded by so many void return stages, and some of them were a little uneasy. "Continue beating him. When you feel satisfied, only then will you stop your hands." Xianxia glanced at the numerous void return stages with a pair of eyes that didn't put anything in their eyes, and the arrogant expression made every strong person who was here to frown, and did not like it. The goatee-beard old man seemed to be saying something, but Xianxia interrupted him. "Are you a Shadowmoon Palace?" "True." The old man caressed his own beard. "Old man, Shadowmoon Palace low-grade manager Ma Xinyuan." "Low-grade manager?" Xianxia narrowed his eyes and with a sneer on his lips, dared ask Elder Qian Tong where he is now. "Elder Qian." Ma Xinyuan's face changed slightly, and he seemed to be a little afraid, but not only he. When Yang Kai mentioned Xiantong, most of the Void Return stage cultivators around here were all like this. Seeing this, Yang Kai suddenly know that these group of Void Return stage cultivators and Elder Xiantong are not on the same side, and probably are his opposition in the Shadowmoon Hall. Otherwise they will not show such a look. It seems that the previous guess about the Qiantong and Shadowmoon Palace internal battle is not far from the truth. Elder Qian is naturally in the Shadowmoon Palace. Boy, you dare ruin the Juyuan Hall of my Shadowmoon Hall, and hurt the people here. Don't think that you can get away using your relationship with Elder Qiantong. Today, even with the help from the heaven, you can't escape. A middle-aged man on the right snorted. Yang Kai glanced at him and said with a chuckle, "Of course, I will not leave until the matter is resolved. I only came here today for two things." While talking, he pointed his hand at Yu Feng and others. "Take them away, and collect the materials owed by your palace." The 7 or 8 Void Return stage looked at each other and saw the narrow sense of each other's eyes. A few two people couldn't help but laugh, obviously ridiculing Yang Kai. Quan looked at Yang Kai sarcastically. "The boy is not bad. You said take them away and leave? Have you asked the old man to agree or disagree? If you dare not agree, I will make you agree." Yang Kai snorted and pointed his finger. A secret treasure like a refining furnace appeared out of thin air. At the instant this refining furnace appeared, the temperature in the radius of 100 square meters suddenly rose, making people feel like they fell into the sea of flames. Even the air was twisted and roast. At the next moment, a sharp bird voice came from the refining furnace, and immediately a red flaming bird flew out of the refining furnace with a length of more than 3 feet, and the wings of the firebird spread out. The entire Heavenly Fate City's fire attribute world's spiritual energy seems to have been drawn by it, and they all gathered towards it. No one thought that Yang Kai was so bold and courageous. With the number of people in the cultivation base occupying the absolute disadvantage, he dared to take the lead. When the firebird appeared, it absorbed the world's spiritual energy. Its body skyrocketed to more than 10 feet long, and covered half of the sky. Many of the Void Return stage strong people came back to their senses, including Quan was trembling with his coveting eyes. Looking at the firebird, exclaimed, "Item spirit. It is item spirit." As soon as the voice fell, the fiery bird spirit shoved a mouthful of a pot-sized fireball and smashed it toward Quan. Fiery bird spirit has been awakened a month ago, and it is one of the few good news that Yang Kai has had in the long-term retreat. After refining a glimpse of Sun's true fire, item spirit has not only increased spirituality, even some of its strength has increased dramatically. At least the flame power it now drives is 3 points stronger than when Yang Kai first conquered it. Looking at the pot-sized fireball that smashed towards him with the power of destroying heavens and exterminating earth, Quan's face suddenly changed color. He felt the threat of death from this fireball. He did not dare to neglect and hurriedly released his own defensive treasures to resist 1 or 2. At the same time, his figure swayed, and he flew towards the distance. Boom! With a loud noise, the fireball fell down. Quan's defensive treasure could not support the spiritual loss that was smashing it for a moment. The surface was dull, and a huge pothole appeared on the ground, and the edge of the pothole showed signs of melting. This item spirit is fierce. Everyone, let's attack together. Quan know that he is not the opponent of this item spirit, and immediately shouted. The others Void Return stage martial artist heard his voice, and quickly take out their secret treasure in order to deal with the item spirit. Everyone's eyes showed a flash of ecstasy, and not even caring about Yang Kai. They thought that Yang Kai was so unscrupulous and taking the first lead, is because he is relying on this item spirit. As long as they can subdue it, how can they put a mere Saint King 3 layer in their eyes? Moreover, if they can conquer this item spirit, it will be a great help for themselves. With this item spirit in front of them, who would still be in the mood to pay attention to Yang Kai? Seeing this, Yang Kai sneered. He waved his hand, and a group of black fireballs shot in all directions. And those who are not a Void Return stage could not avoid it, and it gathered around them, turning it over. Wherever the demon flame passed, it will burn, and the martial artist who say it quickly fled. Those who are slow to run away, and hit directly by the demon flame is swallowed without a trace, not even leaving a skeleton. In a flash, the area of Heavenly Fate City has become a sea of fire, and the fire is soaring, almost burning the heavens. Let's go. Yang Kai rushed Xianxia and Haowen. The two of them heard him and immediately sacrificed their own star shuttle, grabbed Yufeng and the others, and operate their Saint Yuan, carrying Yufeng and the others toward the outside of Heavenly Fate City. Want to go? The goatee-beard old man named Ma Xinyuan saw Xianxia and others actually fleeing away. In a flash, a long sword appeared on his hand. The sword glowed, he waved the sword and attacked Xianxia and Haowen. Yang Kai sneered, and the purple shield was instantly sacrificed. Under the urging of the Saint Yuan, an earth-colored sandstorm protected Xianxia, Haowen and others in it, while anxiously conveyed a word to Xianxia. Xianxia escaped from stagnation, and soon flew forward again, and Hao and two people took Yufeng and the others, and disappeared without a trace. Only the brood who had beaten by them was left, and the miserable cry remained in place, but at this moment this brood also had no human form, and looked extremely miserable. Yang Kai points out his finger, and a demon flame pops out from it, hitting the center of the brood body, and he completely disappeared from the world. This guy is a member of the Xie family. Yang Kai will naturally not show any mercy. To be continued.